Hello, I'm Crafty Patty. I love my Cricut and I have made lots of cards using the Cricut templates. But what if you want to create your own projects from scratch? Then I found there was a little bit of a learning curve. I'm going to show you step by step how I created these baby milestone cards. I know I struggled a bit to figure out how to make more than one image, and with some trial and error I figured it out. Here's another project that I also did. And just by following the same procedures I'm going to show you for the milestone cards, you just have to use the right element to say cut or to say draw, and you can make lots of different fun things. So by following my steps, I hope I can help you as well to create whatever project you want to make. So follow me to my computer and let's make these baby milestone cards together. And so I'm in Cricut Design Space and I'm going to create a new project. So I'm going to click on New Project and up comes the canvas. The first thing we need to do is go into Shapes and select Circle. And down on your left-hand column, here is your shape. So I'm going to click on that and I'm going to select Circle. I want my circle to be 4 inches. So let's just move it up here to the grids. And I know right now it's just sitting at about 3 1/4 approximately. So if I pull this down, it will proportionally move it. So I've got 4 inches on each side. Well, it says it right here. It says 3.986. So if I wanted to really be precise, I could try to, whoops, almost had it. There we go. I've got exactly 4 inches now. I don't need a color in my background, so I'm going to click on here and I'm just going to change that to white. And now I want to select the text box. We'll just click on that. And it has inserted a text box on the bottom here. I want to have the numbers larger than the word month. So all I'm going to do is put in a number right now. I've already made some of these, so I'm going to start with the number 9. So I'm just going to put in the number 9. And there it is. But I want to change the font. So I come up to the font menu and I'm going to change this from Circuit Sans to Be Mine. That is the font that I want. Now I might not see it right away in here, so just to be quicker, I can go into my search field and type the words Be Mine. And there it is. It has come up. So let's click on it. So I'm just going to move my 9 into place. And I would like this 9 to be larger. Right now it's sitting at 72 and I want it at 100. So I'm just going to highlight that, type in 100, type return, and now I have 9 at 100. And now I need to select another text box, and here I'm going to type the word month. And I particularly want this one in capitals. I'm just going to move this up into the circle so you can see what I'm doing. And now, as you might have caught my mistake, it's not 9 month, it's 9 months. So if you want to change your wording, double click and it will bring your text box back up and then you can correct it. There, I've added the S. Now you can see it's too big, so we need to change the font size. I want this font size to be at 51. So I'm just going to change my font size, change it to 51. And that looks much better and it fits into my circle. So you can just grab it and adjust where you want that to sit. And before you forget, it's a good idea to come up and save your project. So I'm going to save this one and I'll just name this Baby Milestone Card, and it would be 9, 10, 10, 11, and 12 I'm going to do on this page, and I'll save that. And now I want to add some greenery in here. So I'm going to click on Images. And there's a whole pile of images in here, 125,000 and more. So we don't want to look through all those. So I'm going to fine tune it a bit, and I'm going to add it here. I'm going to say leaf border and hit return. There's still 5,560. Now I can go down and scroll down and pick the one I like, but I have done this project before. So what I did was I wrote down the number that I wanted. They all have numbers. So if you find one you like, let's say for instance this one, you click on the information box here and it will give you the code number right here. So I've written down the code number of the leaf that I want. So in my search, I'm going to type that in. That's the code number for the leaf I want, so I'll just hit return, and there's the leaf that I want. So I'm going to click on it, and then down on the bottom right it says Insert Images. Click on that, and it has inserted my image. So we can just bring this down into my circle. I'm going to use my proportional arrows and just bring it down to be a little bit smaller. And that should be about right. Readjust to where you want it to sit. Now, right now, it is saying it's going to cut that out. I don't want that cut out. So we can change that. And I'm going to say I want to draw. And by choosing draw, it will take out the color, but I'm going to add color later. The next thing I want is a little tiny heart in here. So I'm going to go back to Shapes. And I'm going to choose heart. And obviously we don't want the heart that big. So again, I can use my proportional arrows, and we're going to make this smaller. So we'll make this a lot smaller. And then drag it down to where you want to place it. Now there's a few final things you can do to give you some memory for when you're doing your design, when you're ready to print, is if you click on your individual text boxes or graphics, you can come up here to your draw and you'll see this box here. In this box here, it's asking you what type of pen you're going to use. I want to use a thicker pen, so the fine isn't going to be big enough for me. So I'm going to choose the Calligraphy 2mm. And it will be black. Same for the months. And black. Now my heart, you can see again that my heart is saying it's going to cut. I don't want it to cut, I want it to draw. So you've got to change that. And that's what it looks like. And again, I'm going to change this to calligraphy in black. My only other one I want to tell the Cricut, so it knows what to do for printing, is I'm going to remind it that I want my leaves to be green. So I'm coming up into this box here, and I'm going to choose green. I don't have a green calligraphy pen, I've only got black, so I'm just going to leave it at fine point because again, I'm going to be coloring in those leaves by hand. Now I want to make more of these. I don't want to just print off one. So what you have to do is you have to group it. So you have to click on each element. There's one. I hold down my Shift key, select the leaves, select months, select the 9, and select the circle. And now you can see under layers, the end group is grayed out and the group is black. So I can click on group, and this is now grouped. Once this is grouped, I can duplicate it. So I'm going to click on duplicate, and there's another one. I'm going to do it again. and I can get 4 up on this one, so I'm going to do it 4 times. Okay, we had to group it so we can order to duplicate it exactly how we wanted it without moving the graphics. Now what we need to do is we need to go back and we need to change our numbers. So what we'll have to do is we have to come in and we have to select this, and then we have to go ungroup. Now I can select just my 9, double click, that brings up my text box, and now I can change that to 10. And this one's not quite centered the 10, so I'm just going to move it over a little bit and make sure it looks a little better. There we go. And now, because we have ungrouped it, we have to group it again. So we'll go back, select all our elements, and group. Okay, we've got 9, 10. Same thing, ungroup. Double click, change it to 11. And I don't really like the spacing. I find it's too tight, so I'm just going to put my cursor between the 2 ones there and just move it, and I'll see if I like that better. I think that's better. And we'll make sure that we're all grouped again. So our heart, shift key, leaves, months, number, and circle, and hit group. Now, it does a weird thing. I'm going to show you this. What happens is, you see right now I've got 4 sitting here. I'm going to show you what happens if I try to make this. If I go make it, can you see what happens there? That's what it did to it. It broke up all the elements. It broke up the numbers, the months, and the leaves in separate sections. We don't want that, so I'm going to cancel. So before we try to make it, what we have to do now is we have to bring these all together and attach them. So we've got this one, hold down the shift key, select this one, and this one, and this one. Now they're all selected, and if you see down on the very bottom right here, there's a little paper clip that says attach. You've got to click attach, and now this is keeping everything as you see it on your canvas. Now we can make it. Go up to the top and click make it. And you can see now on the print screen that all 4 are there with all my elements exactly the way I want them. I'm using 12" by 12" scrapbook paper that I picked up at Michael's when it's on special. And what I'm doing is I'm just using the back side so I can print the white. And then on the back side of my 1 month, it's got a pretty design. And I've already placed one on my cutting mat. I'll just load it under the guides there. And then on my sheen it's asking me to click continue. It will ask me what type of cardstock I've got in there. I'm going to choose the medium cardstock. And it's asking me to load my pens. I'm going to be using my calligraphy pen and the jade pen. Because this is a calligraphy pen, it has a flat edge, and you can see when I turn it, it's narrow and wide. So when you place this in your Cricut pen holder, you need to place it in at a 45-degree angle so you get the benefit of calligraphy. And then just snap that in place. And the Cricut machine is asking me to go ahead and load the paper with this arrow. Once the paper is loaded, it's asking you to say OK and start your project. Now, as you see, it has its own order of how it prints your design. And then once it's got my 2 pens done in the calligraphy pen, it's going to ask me for the other colored pen. It has finished printing of the black and it's asking me to load my green. So I'll take my black pen out and load the green. And it's now printing my green leaves. Now it's detecting my tool, so it's cutting around my circles. And it's now done, and it's asking me to remove my mat. And there we go. We have our 9 months. If you want to save this as is, these numbers, then you've got this saved as 9, 10, 11, 12 for these months. Let's say you want to make some more numbers, or the 6, 7, 8, 9, or whatever. Go up to the save and go save as. And now, because I've done all the other numbers already, I haven't showed you those ones. I'm going to just change this. Okay, I don't really need this for public, so I'm actually going to take public off, and I'm going to save this. So to change this document now, as you remember before, you can see that these are all attached. We need to detach them now, so they're individual units. I only want 2 more, so I'm going to take one of these and I'm going to delete it. I'm going to take this one and delete it. So if you remember from before, we had to group all this to keep it together. So we need to ungroup it. And now we want to get rid of the 10 and the months because I want to write in something different. So the 10, I'm going to make this say baby. And it's way too big. So I'm going up to the font size and I'm going to try 50 and see what that looks like. Still too big. Let's try 40. That's kind of cute. And this one, I'm going to double click so I can bring up my text box and we'll type in the baby's last name. And again, you can see it's a bit too big, so we just have to bring down that font size, and we'll bring that down to 40. I can have that a little bit bigger, so you just play around with it until you've got the size that you want. Let's try 45. That's looking pretty good. And I think I'm going to have the baby go down to 30. This one, we're going to have to ungroup. Double click, and I'm going to change that 9 to say hello. And it's really big, so we're going to change that down to 50 for the font size. And then this one, double click, and I'm going to say I'm new here. And that font will be way too big, so we're going to change that and bring that down to, let's try 25. A little typo there. I'm not digging this font the way they have their L's here, so I'm just going to try and actually do it in lowercase and see what that looks like. Much better. And of course, instead of changing the size of the font, you can grab your proportional arrows, and that will also increase the size of your font because it will go with the actual size of the box. And I'm just going to try and see what this looks like if I print these words as well. And you can just keep playing with it until you're happy with the size and the font, change it up. So maybe I'm going to try this one as well and match it up with the lowercase. I kind of like it. So which means I've got to ungroup this one, go into baby, double click so I can get the font up. And then let's try just lowercase baby. Let's see what that looks like. It's kind of cute. So there's baby, and I'm going to just use my proportional arrows and bump it up and then move it into position. Just make your final adjustments to where you want it to sit. And then once you're happy with your placement and it's all looking good, then as before, we need to group all your elements. And group this one as well. So now we need to make sure they're both attached. So we'll select this one and this one together. You can see they're both together. And then we hit the word attach with paper clippers. And now if you look at Make It, you should see that it's ready to go as it is. And there we have it on the screen, just the way we want it printed. So I'll print those. And there's my hello, I'm new here in Baby Gerard. And then I'm coming in with my Tombow markers, number 158 for the green and 993 for the yellow. And we'll just do a little bit of embellishing. So in my heart, I'm just going to accent that with just a little bit of a yellow inside the heart, just to make it pop. So I'm using the brush end and just a few little brush strokes, and we'll fill in the leaf color. And there we have it.